All right, welcome to the Daily Dirt, Dustin Diggs. I'm here with Dan Gill from Dan Gill Photography. Yes, sir. We got soundboard here, so we got everything down here, Dan.
Wow, where's the band? I see the band's getting ready.
The band's going to be over here one day, yeah. So, but I met you at the MCA meeting, and so we were talking, and then you came by the Soulful Illusion Studios, and you showed me the new camera, the Z Cam, and so. You did photography, but now you're really getting into video this year, right? So
yeah.
Kind of talk about how did you get started with photography? And you look like you're the same age as me, so you probably started when there's like that thing called film.
Right. It makes me itch or it makes me excited, one of the two.
Yeah.
There was a kid in school who was bullied by a lot of different people, and I had a big heart for him, and I wish I would have done more for them back then, but, all through middle school and high school, and we kind of brought him into our group, but yet I felt that his voice wasn't heard. I think that a lot of people's voices nowadays aren't heard, and when we don't feel heard, then life just gets tough. And so what I wanted to do is get into journalism to tell stories about the underdog.
Okay.
I figured the harder part of journalism would be photojournalism, and then that would be a good kind of parlay at some point into filmmaking.
Okay, so you got into more photojournalism as you started. So how would you start doing that? Like, would you just go where there'd be things happening and take photos? Or what did you start to document when you start getting into photojournalism?
Well, you shoot several hundred rolls of film, and I don't know, it's probably not several hundred, but a lot of film and 1,000 exposures, and then you work with someone who knows what they're doing. I had an internship with a Time magazine photographer a long time ago.
Wow.
And he looked through 100 pages of negatives, and he pulled out 4 frames. And said,
out how many photos?
Out of probably 1,000.
Wow.
Dan, this is where we're going to start your portfolio. These 4 frames. I'm crying and looking through the book. I'm like, but Steve,
you got all these over here.
What about this one? Nope. What about this one? Nope. So for the next 8 days, he sent me out to shoot features. A feature picture is the old school picture you see in the newspaper of a kid in ice cream on a hot summer day, or kids playing in a sprinkler on a hot summer day, or kids playing hockey in a pond in the wintertime. It's those things that kind of show you a slice of life of St. Louis.
Right.
And so
this was in St. Louis where you...
This was in Chicago.
Oh, Chicago. Okay.
So Chicago during the wintertime, January, that's the time to go feature hunting.
I went to school in Chicago at Columbia College, and
cool.
Wintertime was horrible.
Right.
The year I was there, they had 2 feet of snow, and it was you couldn't go anywhere. Yeah. But so Chicago in the wintertime,
Chicago in the wintertime, I'm out. I'm taking pictures of seagulls here and people here, and for I think it was 6 days I came back, and I was like, Steve, I got it. And he's like, okay, process the film. So I processed the film at his place, and he'd bang on the door as I was processing film. The Wire guys have got pictures out faster than you. This feeling of competition, this feeling of speed.
So you developed you had to develop your own photos.
Yeah, I shot Tri-X back then.
Yeah.
On old Nikon cameras at the time.
Wow.
On the 7th day, I was driving back, and he's like, hey, we got to come back. We have an assignment. We have to pack up for the assignment. I'm like, cool. So I'm driving back, telling him about the picture. It was this beautiful thing, and I forgot what the picture was. This beautiful thing, and the snow started to fall, and everything started to come into place, and I'm rewinding the film right now. And I'm talking on the old school cell phone as I'm driving. That's just how we did it back in the day. So the film's still rewinding, and I'm still talking to him, and I'm like, but the film's still rewinding, and then I'm realizing if the film's been rewinding for this amount of time, something's wrong. And so I opened the back of the camera, and I never connected the film in correctly.
Oh my God! It was that for all? Well, that wasn't all the 6 days, so it had to be.
No, that was just that one day where I got the picture, and he's like, "I trust you. We'll go out and shoot this. Go out and shoot something else again." And then
people forget about that because I remember that because I would mess up on my development, and then I would open it, and then light would bleed through, and it's done.
That would be it.
But then also you would take pictures back then with a film camera. And you'd be like, well, I think I got it. I'm not sure. I can't look back and see. I'll tell you tomorrow if I got it.
Right. I absolutely got it. Wait a minute.
Yeah. So
you kind of have to, when you get the picture, it's kind of like when you're doing a film and you get the scene, or you're doing an interview and you get the interview, you get the heart of the question. you can feel it right here. We get the same feeling when we're editing. We feel it right here. And so when you're out an assignment or when you're out shooting features like I was, or when you're out storytelling in any regard, it's the same thing. You get this feeling in your heart that your heart's just like, you got it. You can go home. You can move the story now.
Yeah.
So when you're shooting film, like high school football games, it's how to move it forward. I was freelancing for the Post-Dispatch for 2 years, and one of the times I was covering high school sports out in St. Charles, and I was shooting it really for the St. Charles County Post at the time. And then the sports desk downtown called me and said, hey, we want pictures for tomorrow's sports page. I'm like, okay, that sounds great. What's the deadline? He's like, 9:30. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like rolling the clock back, 9:30, like 20 minutes to process the film, half hour to drive back from St. Charles. That gives me 1/4 of the game to shoot for the St. Charles County Post and downtown. I'm like, all right, here we go.
Well, how would you send it back then? You'd have to actually go deliver it physically?
You would. So on this particular game, I was working with my good friend Tim Nordman. Oh man, he owns Mr. Miowski's Bakery now in St. Charles. I'll put that plug out there for Tim. Hopefully he'll appreciate it. We would process the film in his kitchen. We'd use the microwave to heat up the the Blix, the color film.
That couldn't be healthy.
It was beautiful.
And then you put your TV dinner in there afterwards. Yeah,
right, exactly. So I would go out and I would shoot the first quarter of the game, and I would rush back to Tim's place and say, he would give me a call during the game. Actually, I'd call him on the way back and say, hey, Tim, are you at your place?
Yeah.
I'm on the way. Let's go. He's like, I've already sent my pictures. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. You've already sent your pictures? Yeah. Luckily, the game was across the street. So I walked. I was like, what? So we processed the film in his kitchen, and we used an old Polaroid Sprint scanner. This little film thing. And after look at the pictures, he's like, do you mind if I pick one? I'm like, sure. So he's looking through this, and he's like, no, that looks like not very good. I'll just use that word. Oh, that looks like ass, Dan. No. Oh. And then you get this really excited tone of voice. And he's like, can I scan it? I'm like, knock yourself out. So here we are in this little apartment, and he's scanning this picture, and he's like, Dan, you might be a photojournalist now.
Really? What was it? What was the picture?
It was like just this high school football game.
Right, but like was it like an action shot? The guy was about to catch the ball?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember. It's like, there's so many things. So after you process the film, you'd have to scan the negative, and then you have to write a caption for it, and then send it out.
Yeah.
And then call your editor to say, did you get it? And then they would say, yep. Sounds good.
Wow, and so that'd just be the raw. I mean, you didn't take it through like a Photoshop and touch it up or anything, right? You just
a little bit.
A little bit you did?
Back in the days, we would just use levels. So we would grab a level here, grab the black point and grab the white point and bring it together, and then work with the midpoint a little bit, and that was it. It was not until years later we started working with curves more.
Right. I remember because I had Photoshop 5.
Oh, you're young.
I'm young. So I had Photoshop 5. That was my first. Then I remember 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Like they really changed in 6 and 7, and then I don't know what they did the CS stuff and all that kind of stuff now. But
okay, I can pull rank here. I go back to version 3.
Version 3.
Version 3. Probably 94. So I have a colleague of mine. He's a Mike Stewart. I'll shout him out here now. He's the regional picture editor for the Associated Press, and he's in Atlanta. And he goes back to version 1. Wow. What an old guy.
When did version? I'm trying to think when Adobe came out. I can remember.
I think it was like 89 or 90.
Yeah.
I feel like I was too young for that. I graduated high school in 92, and I will not tell you what high school I went to because that's just appalling.
That's a St. Louis thing too. Everybody's always like, what high school did you?
So the favorite story about high schools that I know of is this guy went to a party here in St. Louis, and this is like a long time ago, and I don't even know if it's true. It's probably true. He went to this party, and they're introducing each other around, and they said, well, what high school did you go to? And he goes, Yale, and he walked away.
I'm going to have to try that.
Right.
I always get that question, like what high school. I think that's a big St. Louis thing is, I don't know.
Someone asked me, I think at that event, and they weren't from St. Louis, and I said, St. Joe's Academy.
Oh.
Which is an all-girls Catholic high school. They were like, oh, cool. How'd you like St. Joe's? It was great. So a lot of friends.
When you do photojournalism, how do you break down? Okay, so you get to a place, you're trying to figure out the story, right? So then So then when you figure out the story or the angle or whatever it's going to be, then you got to figure out what shot is going to represent that story, right? So how do you break that down when you? I mean,
So we'll kind of back up here for a second.
Yeah.
A misnomer about journalism is that editors say, this is the story, go do it. This is how we want it to be told. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Reporters are out there walking around God's green earth, kind of like aliens from a different planet, looking at things saying, wow, why are people so excited here in December 20th or so here in St. Louis, Missouri? The sun is out. It's going to be 50, 60 degrees today. Is this normal? And so you go talk to people. Why are you out in your shorts today? Well, it's not normal for it to be this warm. Okay, wow. What are other people doing? What are other people doing? And if you guys want to go do the story, go ahead and do it. It sounds really cool to me. Warm weather in St. Louis. It could be like a short doc. Go ahead and send me a link to it. I'd love to see it. But that's the kind of thing. So you have reporters go find the story, and then they pitch the story, kind of like throwing seeds in a field. You pitch like farmer pitching seeds. So you're pitching these stories to an editor, and the editor says, yeah, I like that one. What do you think the timeline is? When can you have it? Like, is it like a daily story? Like we have this by tomorrow or today by 3:00,
right.
Or is it a longer term story or what have you? And so that's kind of the start of it.
Because they're trying to fill up the space. They have so many spaces to fill in this magazine or this newspaper.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to figure out, okay.
Yeah, so advertising sold so that we can go out and tell stories. I
Yeah.
mean, it's basically the same thing with filmmaking.
Right.
You sell ads or you get buy-in and then you go from there. So what they'll do is they'll find a story and then they'll go cover it. So a lot of times the reporter will call me or an editor will call me and say, hey, here's the story. Call John in Kansas City. So I call John and he says, hey, here's the story. Are you available? Or my picture editor would say, hey, are you available tomorrow afternoon? I would say, yeah. He would say, cool. Then I would say, what's the story?
Right.
And then you'd have to actually go find it.
Okay.
So it's not simple. It's like the
Right.
weather, like this weather kind of thing.
But I guess my question was, if you know what the story is, then you got to figure out what visuals are going to really tell the story. Whatever's once you know what the story the reporter, the editor tells you, then you really got to find the right visuals to tell that story.
Yeah, and then you have to really be true to the, true to the storytelling, true to the story.
Right.
A lot of times we'd be on assignment and I'm trying to think of one. So I was working with a reporter. Oh, shoot me now. I forgot his name. We were working. The story was that Missouri is the only state in the United States that doesn't have a PDMP or prescription drug monitoring program. So 49 other states had set up this electronic system, not to track what medications we use, but to make sure that we don't self-medicate. And it's just another stopgap.
Wow.
And so this reporter said, so we need to find who's standing against it, and then we need to find who's standing before it. And this is on the legislative side.
Uh-huh.
And then the other side of the story is how this affects us, really on the law enforcement side. So half the story was in Jeff City, and the other half of the story was in Southeast Missouri. So in order to find the visuals of this prescription drug monitoring program and opioid abuse and doctor shopping, which is what I call the story later on, we had to travel to Southeast Missouri, where you had to find kind of a hero for the story or people involved in the story. And then you kind of have to pray that something happens. I mean, I don't wish ill on anyone, but at the same time, statistically speaking, if this is happening with a great amount of frequency, then we should be able to find it fairly easy. So we accidentally happened upon a case that happened when we were there.
Oh, okay. And then you went and asked to get shots.
I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but
I'm trying to figure out how you how.
So it's kind of like a documentary film. You have this. The characters would be on the legislative side. You have the opposition to the legislation, and you have the sponsor. And so you showcase these, the opposition talking about the legislation with the reporter.
Okay.
And actually in the well of the Senate, the Missouri State Senate. So we were out there with a long lens making pictures of him being a legislator. And then on the pro side, the proponent, he was on the House side. So I rented a long lens to make pictures of him.
Right.
Talking about this on the House side. When we got to the case, there was a pharmacist who is deputized, and so he was starting to investigate cases, and he's just this happy-go-lucky guy, having a lot of, like, not having a lot of fun, but just being really kind of fun, and a cavalier kind of guy. Everyone loved him at work, and he was joking around. He had these glasses he would wear around his neck, and then we went back into his office, and he got a phone call, and he just did like this. He took his glasses off and put his hands on top of his head. I was like,
there it is.
oh my God, his cape is coming out. I mean, he's changing from...
Sorry.
He's changing from pharmacist to investigator.
Right.
So I asked him, I said, hey, I don't know who it was, but I know what the phone call was about. This is why we're here. If you guys let us inside the case, this is why we're here. We need to do this. But I'm not going to press you. You know, I can wait outside. You can make your calls. And then when I come back, hopefully we'll be on the inside. And to his credit, he said yes. And we got inside this case, so you're following along with this pharmacist who you've already identified with pictures, and then they go to the case and they work with the sheriff's deputy and the sheriff's team, and then so you have this introduction of characters, and then the story playing out in front of your eyes, and then you have the protagonist, this person that might or might not have been abusing prescription medication. And this individual was pulled over, and then you have the sheriff at the end of the day sitting watching the interrogation as they let us watch it too. And he's just sitting there like, I'm tired, you know? We do this all the time.
Right.
We used 95% of our county resources investigating this one case today, and I'm tired of doing this.
I've done a couple of documentaries. I'm not as good as you over there, but obviously. But it seems like you used the long lenses, because I noticed, like, when I would first start documenting people, like they wouldn't be themselves because they would put on some kind of camera persona. Mm-hmm. But then after a while, it seems like people forget that the camera's there, mm-hmm. and so then they kind of start acting like more themselves. But with the long lenses, is that like a key to like really documenting it, because you're not in their face, you're far out, you can get that shot, but you're not like invading what's going on.
Yeah, so forgive me for the analogy, but I'm going to use a hitman as the analogy.
Okay.
There's a movie called Leon the Professional. It's on Netflix right now. And he teaches this, like, his student.
The little girl?
The little girl. Yeah. This is how you kill.
What's her name?
Oh, no. That's not cool. I know. I forgot her name. It's just not good.
All right. I know her.
Right. We'll go back and we'll look it up. We'll edit it in later. We're not live, right? We'll edit it in
we
later.
are live, but it's fine.
Oh, no. That's not good. Natalie Portman. It was her first film, Natalie Portman.
We were just testing the audience out there. We wanted to see if you guys were watching. Yeah.
So Leon is like, this is how you kill the first time. This is how you learn how to kill. You kill from a distance. And I shouldn't be using this one analogy here, but yeah. The first weapon you learn is the rifle, and the last weapon you learn is the knife. And so, as you see, this is my old Canon 5D Mark II right here.
Yep.
And it's got a 35 on it, and it's basically just almost welded to the camera because it really never leaves.
Yeah.
Storytelling with a 35. I love shooting with a 35 and an 85 as a combination, like two cameras. Having those two, it means that you have to be close all the time. You have to have buy-in from your subject. You have to have the ability to be there and witness but be invisible at the same time. What you do is you document what they're doing and not document your kind of a reflection on their eyes, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like we're talking right now, and if I take a picture of you, I'm looking at you interviewing me,
right?
Which is might or might not what I want to show.
Right. Then if you're so close, I'll probably start tensing up and posing or whatever for you.
Right. If you start like taking a phone call or doing this, or like you start checking your Facebook, I'm like, bam, bam, bam. That's Matt. I capture Matt in his environment.
Right.
But you don't want to take a reflection of yourself as a storyteller, because no one wants to see a reflection of you in the mirror. We just want to see Matt do his stuff. Like seeing that. Right. It's like I'm still 15 again, but what's all this wrinkle stuff, getting gray hair going on?
I know. It's horrible. Okay, so that's how you do it.
Yeah.
So then, this is the digression question. So then when you got into the video side, when did you really start, with the photography, but then you start getting to the video side of storytelling?
So I taught photojournalism at St. Louis University for a year. And when I was teaching there, this was this kind of big turn where we had these digital SLRs, and for the first time they were recording motion.
Video,
they were recording motion, and filmmakers, were going to these cameras because the image sensors were huge. They weren't like, they were decent size for us, but like the Canon 5D Mark II right here.
Was it? What was it? It was the 5D was the first one. It was that camera, the 5D with the video for the.
Yeah, so it has a full frame image sensor.
Yeah, so you could go in low light. So a lot of filmmakers used it because you could do natural lighting and right.
You get you get kind of a really big sensor experience.
Yeah,
with this camera. You're shooting like full size 35mm frame, which I'm learning in filmmaking is kind of rare in Hollywood to be shooting with a full size 35.
Yeah.
You know, or shooting with kind of a medium format camera, like now this is kind of going off the rails here. I can't remember the big cameras you see at the St. Louis Science Center.
Oh, the like 72 millimeter, like the Omni or whatever.
OmniMax.
Yeah,
one of the Batman films was shot on an OmniMax camera because he wanted the huge sensor and he wanted this huge, big experience. And so filmmakers found this camera for $2,500 back in 2010 that shot a full frame shot.
Right, it was 2010 because I remember that's when it really changed the game. Like that's when everybody was starting to buy. All these filmmakers were buying these DSLRs. Yeah.
Right. There was this movie that came out. It was shot with, not with this one, but it was shot with a Canon 7D, and it was called Tiny Furniture. And it was kind of groundbreaking because nobody else had ever shot a full-length motion picture with one of these cameras. One of these cameras before. Philip Bloom, he's on Netflix, not on Netflix, but he's on YouTube, and he's like this incredible DP out of London. And he's incredibly connected, and he shot this film called Dublin, and you can find it on YouTube. And it was shot with the Canon 5D Mark II. And I think the whole world gasped and said, "Oh my God, now we can be filmmakers.
Right.
We have this technology to do this for $2,500 for a body, which even today is a steal." You know?
Right. I have, like I still have the 7D. I have 3 of those 7Ds from back in the day. Yeah.
Right?
I didn't buy them for $2,500. I got them this was like 4 years ago. I bought them for like $200-$300 a piece, but they still, the video for doing three shots, like it still holds up to this day with social media. Yeah.
My first Canon 5D Mark II I purchased for about $2,000, and then like 2 or 3 years later I bought my second for like $750.
Yeah.
And I feel kind of self-conscious because I still shoot with them today, and every once in a while I'll use them as a B camera to the Z cam. And I'll probably continue to use them as B cameras for the Z cam for the time being, but yet there's just picture quality is just still amazing.
Right. So we're going to cut.
Yeah.
Let's do some clips here. I'm sure the audience is interested to see your work. So
I'm going to play one of my older ones first, and this is kind of.
And we can just play as much as you want. We can do a couple of like minutes or something or whatever, and we can talk as you shoot it. So I mean, as you play it, because if you want to narrate it. Because if they want to watch the video, they can go to your YouTube channel and watch the whole thing.
Can watch
so this is just more like a teaser.
Yeah, so let me see. Well, we're talking about cameras. I'm going to go play this first. This is called Close Start.
Okay.
And, oh, wow, you're going to watch a commercial.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
I don't
so
pay,
beautiful.
Dan, I don't pay for the YouTube ads. I'm
okay, sorry. I don't either.
I spent all my money on this set.
So this is basically like black and white film by today's standards without any sound. I mean, this is it's a camera I borrowed from St. Louis University, so thank you very much. And I kind of experiment with the camera. This is how I experiment with the camera. I take it through its steps, and I take care of it. So I took it on the boat as my friend Tim is sailing with us. And this is just like 2 minutes, and it's got like 4,200 views, so it's not a lot. But for me,
that's pretty good.
For me, this is like history. So
yeah,
this is Tim. I hope he doesn't mind.
And on 10 seconds, we're going to head upwind. So you ready?
Ready.
Let's do it.
Okay. Tacking. Okay. We got traffic on our right. Shit. It's okay. Keep going. Keep going. Point. We got 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Cut down the line. Left. Left. It's okay. Point to the right.
Good.
Go now.
Start,
Now.
right?
Now. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. We're gonna hit him. Keep going.
So this is racing sailboats.
We got it.
Yeah, racing sailboats, and by today's standards, you're like, damn, but it's all grainy and stuff. But it's the detail in the water, it's the detail in the sky. It's a shot at 720, so it's not really a big frame.
Yeah.
But it kind of enlightened me to this whole world of not only can I document with still pictures now, but I can document with motion. Let me show you one more on this.
Well, I like the storytelling, the point of view that you're, with the talking. And
Yeah.
you're like, catch him. Like,
oh, that's my old clip I need to change there. So we kind of, and this is just kind of moving along kind of slowly, but I'll move to a more recent one. So this is kind of what eye-opening for me. That was just a straight clip, so there's no editing to it. It's just like you cut it and you put it out there. My brother and I wanted to tell stories about sailing. When you think about sailing, you think about sitting on the shore, or you think about like this leisurely boat meandering across this big field of water, and it does not move very fast. But what we do is we're racing sailboats, and so it's kind of like NASCAR on the water.
Yeah.
Your tail is going to get wet. You might fall off the boat. They might have to go back and pick you up. And so this is a 3-person boat with 4 people on it. And there's no camera. Where's the camera person sit? Nowhere.
right, because that's more weight, and they probably don't want you on the boat,
Right.
right? Yeah.
More weight. I mean, are you going to crew too?
Right.
At what point are you going to drop the camera and stop telling story and then, pick up the line or lean out? And so there's no room for camera on there. And so because of that, there's this incredible opportunity for us to tell the story that not many people hear. So I'm going to play a little bit of it. My brother ended up getting 3 GoPro cameras, and we ended up mounting the GoPro cameras, 2 on the boat, and you'll see where they're mounted.
Okay.
Strategic points, we kind of talked about where we want to put them, and then one of them is actually on my head. So I'm wearing a sailing hat.
You got one on your hat?
I've got it on my head, so I'm moving around. I'm like, oh, I'm the C cam. Or maybe I'm the A cam. I don't know. And then I bought this like $60 recorder, this little Sony office recorder.
Uh-huh.
And this is kind of what made it for me, is I was able to move around the boat with the office recorder and the microphone, and I was able to capture sound on the boat, which is normally you just hear wind.
Yeah.
Or you just hear water, but you're not hearing the communication on the boat.
Did you have to put it in one of those little, like what you have on your camera over here?
I think for me it was like
Those little muff things?
it was like a $50 little thing, and I put a little muffle thing on the front, like
Right.
that. I put a little muffle thing on the front of it, so we didn't get much wind noise. And then I forgot if I was monitoring it too, but I was racing. No, I wasn't monitoring it. I was just like, let's get it and go.
Yeah.
And then when the wind comes up, you kind of have to lean out or pick up the line or do what you need to do. And so for me, this is the biggest time, the first big project I had to edit. So if you think about from an editing standpoint, you have 3 cameras that you're pulling story from. Oh, I'm getting the burps too. Thanks.
Yeah. You got your water.
Yeah. So 3 cameras you're pulling story from, and then you have an audio source, and then you need to link the audio source and make sure that's synced up with the 3 cameras.
Okay.
And so for a beginning filmmaker, that's a lot. And this was a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So I'm going to kind of jump into it and try to find one of the heights of the action here.
I made this video for all of you who want to learn
This is my
more about
motion
sailing
graphics, by the
and
way.
spell a
Is that
couple
your
minutes.
hand?
Yeah, these are my
Every time
motion
I ask my
graphics
friends if
abilities.
they want to go sailboat racing, they ask if they should bring wine or beer.
Good. That's good.
And my partner
Well,
said not
that's
to be
clearly not the case, as
self-deprecating
you'll see
today,
in this
so
video.
Lisa, I'm sorry.
Sailboat racing is a physically and
But I won't
mentally
apologize.
challenging sport.
So I'm
has
going to
been
kind of
described as
cut to the
chess on
chase
the water.
here.
Okay.
This video is an introduction to the
So the neat thing here is,
On
and this
board
is one of the
a
things,
scow sailboat as the
so one of the things I wanted to show is
along the video.
anytime you see a sailboat on the water, or anytime you're seeing a sailboat race, here's what you see in terms of a visual if you don't have a drone. You see a line for the horizon, and you see part of the boat. So that's one of the things we want to avoid. Like, how do I show where the boat is in relation to other boats and in relation to where you are on the lake and the race course? So my idea was that I would write a script, and I would do this voiceover with this map here of the real life race course. And as the race course is going, we're going through the race, I would cut to this map, and so you get to see real time where we're on the course. So this is kind of the big reveal here.
This
Ready
is
for
before
this?
he didn't have a drone, like so you could have did the drone
Right.
shot and would have got the,
No, but what you get is you get like this real intimacy.
Yeah.
Grabbed my headphone thing here.
Yep.
So I'm going to play this, and this is kind of the reveal between the motion graphic and the story here.
Okay.
on the video so you can see where we are.
And just you can explain
Here
to
we
the
are
audience.
starting the race. On one side of the lake, we point our boat to the first mark, not yet visible, 3 miles away.
And I put titles up here. We're at the starting line.
Okay.
And then I'll cut back to
we're
the
gonna go out on a
graphic.
broad reach on this tack.
And where is this at? What lake is this at?
This is Carlisle Lake in Illinois, so it's about an hour away.
Fire's got trouble.
Let's kind of let it play
Fire's
here.
putting up a tight.
Where are we going? I'm trying to get the boat moving. Give me a minute. Where's the buoy?
Yeah, you think you're going slow, but it looks like they're hauling ass right there. You can tell.
Yeah, we're moving. So we're racing across this lake, and I'll kind of move it along here. We're racing across this lake, and where is it? Yeah, I'm trying to find a good spot here.
Oh, you're good. Wow, how did you get the shot way out like that? I guess that must be on.
Yeah, so there's a shot on the boom. So there's the mast of the boat, and then there's the boom that comes off the back of the mast, and the boom holds the mainsail or mainsail low towards the boat. So our thought was we want to get an overall shot of the boat. We were thinking about putting one on top of the mast, but you don't see anything. You don't see any crew. You just see like the top of the heads and people moving around, and you can't see anything else. And so what the boom shot did was allow us to get outside of the boat, but yet still be there and intimate with the subjects. And then we have a mast cam that looks back towards the crew compartment, and then we have my head cam. So this is...
I love the shot, yeah.
Thanks. I'm going to try to find a shot where we're looking for the mark. So we just started. We're going across the lake, and we're 3 miles away from the mark, and we're looking for it. So you kind of have to eyeball it. It's not like you can be out there with binoculars saying, oh, yeah, it's right over there. You're sailing a compass heading.
And how many other boats are you guys going up against here?
So we're up against... I forgot how many were in this race. I think probably 10 other boats. So at this point, we're looking for we're on a compass heading, and we're looking for the mark.
I almost feel like it's like the deadliest catch. I'm watching that with the.
Right? I mean, you kind of have to pinch yourself and say, hey, Dan, but these are GoPro cameras.
I think that's what they use at that show, though, too. They have to.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is just so this is from my head cam.
Where it is, though. Off to the right.
You can see it on my head right there.
Oh, okay.
Look to the right of the ramp.
Halfway across the lake, a crew member spots the mark.
I see it over there. Good, thank you. See it? See it.
So for me, my goal with this is to take people on the boat, and immediately you see, wow, they're racing.
Yeah.
It looks like it's inherently dangerous, which it is. It looks like you're going fast, which it is. It looks like if the boat goes over the middle of the lake, you're kind of in trouble. You're out on your own. You have to take care of your own and your crew, and that's the case. And so it's an experience that I'm passing on to, in this case, about 25,000 people or 25,000 views. It's unique for me because you have audio on the boat. It's that sound. You can hear the winch. You can hear the lines.
Yes.
You can hear the sails, and you can hear all of the water and all the crew. And it was like, okay, what do we do now, Dan? Let's do some filmmaking.
Right. Well, it feels like you're really in the boat with them. It's so I like that experience.
Yeah.
What can we keep playing?
We can kind of.
I want to see what happens.
You want to see what happens next?
I want to see what happens. I want to see what happens.
Our captain changes course with a maneuver called a jibe. As we go through the maneuver, we break a cable that should have been loosened. It is a very rare sight to see this cable break off the boat.
Okay, ready?
What do you want to do?
We're getting ready to jibe. Both boards down. Ready?
So this boat is 25 feet long, and so anything you do is kind of critical.
Okay. Sheet in, Dan.
We forgot to loosen a line on the boat, and we ended up breaking a wire, which means we were kind of not impaled, but we couldn't be as competitive as we wanted to.
Main sheet's yours. Main sheet's across.
Crap! We just lost. Oh man, we forgot about the running backstay.
Oh, okay.
No spinnaker now.
Okay, pulling in the running backstay.
So this is a kind of boat that you're kind of. Oh, I can hear the plane in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the F-15s, I think.
Oh, really?
That's what it sounds like.
I live next to the airport.
Yeah. So kind of moving on from this, it was trying to tell the story in this place where nobody tells stories. Trying to tell a story which there's thousands of people who go out and sail every day, and maybe even millions, and a lot of people who race during the summertime, but yet there aren't hardly any videos like this on YouTube. You look around and you'll find something with nice music, or you'll find something from a distance, or you'll find a GoPro camera with music on it, or just wave sound or something, but you don't end up like on the boat with the crew watching this drama unfold.
So, did you have experience sailing before you made this video? Mm-hmm. Okay, so then you kind of knew going into it how to tell this story, where to place the cameras. And so a lot of times when you do your documentaries, if you don't know the subject matter, you do research, right, to figure out like how to tell the right story.
So in this case, we kind of had we had a good idea of what we wanted to tell. We just wanted to tell the experience. But anytime you start out with that and you're kind of fishing for a story, it's like, well, okay, well, if we're around this pond long enough, we're going to catch a fish. If you're around the story long enough, something's going to happen, and you have to be able to recognize that and pivot towards the story. So in this case, it was the drama between my brother, myself, and my dad, and our other crew member, our friend John Miller, on the boat, and kind of the interactions we had that day, and how we're able to race the boat, and how we had some success and some failure on the boat. And that's just kind of a normal day of racing on the water. But it's a unique video still for me today because it's kind of complex, but you're there, you're experiencing it.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Well, obviously with 25,000 views, so definitely people watching it.
So if we're ready to move on, let me move on to, this is a kind of a finished product. This will be my portfolio reel again. I gotta stop this. This is called Aviation. My dad has been doing this aviation ministry at church, and one of the projects that he suggested for me to do is the story about this aviation ministry. So I saw it as this portfolio opportunity for me to kind of jump in with both feet with this new camera, which I'll show you in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And try to tell a story. I'll just kind of, try to tell a story differently. So I'm just going to go ahead and play it and kind of let it do its own thing here.
I think you showed me some clips of this.
So it's 6 minutes. If you don't mind, do you mind if I play the whole thing?
You can play the whole thing. Yeah, okay. I want to go get us more coffee. How's that sound?
Okay.
Because I saw this the other day.
Yeah, so I'm going to roll it back here and then just make sure
Wednesday
we have some.
Is it Wednesday morning? Must be Wednesday morning because I'm at Concordia.
Yeah.
It's the social.
What? Okay, so we're going to go full frame here.
Full frame. Yeah,
full frame. We're jumping in.
There we are.
All right, so I'm going to scroll it back here and then, I'm just going to let this play and then we can talk about this afterwards.
Yeah,
good?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. So
Wednesday morning. Is it Wednesday morning? Must be Wednesday morning because I'm at Concordia. It's the social event of the week, actually. Maybe it seems impossible for anyone to understand that, but this is important. 2 alarm clocks are set up. A little earlier one for me, a little later one for Frank. Get the coffee set up so it's quick and easy to make in the morning. Get the airplanes into the car. Make my little peanut butter and jelly half sandwich. It's my Wednesday treat. Like you can't have a peanut butter and jelly any other time. I know there is, but they don't discuss it with me. They do all fly one direction while there are several up. Now, they may change that when there's only one airplane up. Somebody will be up and will be doing figure eights or going the other direction. But when they're all up, they must have a code that I don't know what it is. Without words, I think they understand flight patterns should be your flight pattern should be understandable to me because I have to concentrate on where my plane's going. Count on the fact that you're in control of your airplane and you're going to stick on a reasonable flight pattern. Once in a while, after a mid-air collision, parts will drop off of an airplane. You know, there'll be a battery or a wheel or something, and these are tiny little things on the gym floor. So I'll go down to the observation window and I'll see 2 guys on the floor, crawling around, looking sideways, trying to see if they can see where that wire or that little wheel might be. So you have 2 or 3 people looking for one guy's airplane parts. And I think that is so cute. They like They looked like third-grade boys on the playground. Again, it's a big part of his social life because so few of his friends are around. And when he talks about the different people down there, you can tell he likes all of them. You know, and they all are very different, but they all have some kind of an aviation background. And there's a community of aviasts down there. It's almost like they all had to talk at once. They had so much to say about this, that. And every story about flying their planes led to a story about something in their past, where they worked, what they flew, what trip they made for what company, and it all tied into flying the little airplanes. Aviation has been his life engineering-wise. He's an aeronautical engineer. He created rocket boosters, and he did that for many, many years. We saw a little article in the Post-Dispatch when people used to be able to run those little personal things, call so-and-so if you were going to want to learn to quilt or you want to do something. And we saw a little article from your mother saying that this group of flyers at Concordia were looking for people to fly with them. And I'm trying to remember the year. 15 years ago? Could it have been that long? Do you think? When he came here and learned they were doing this inside on small micro-size airplanes, he began to build different airplanes. The thing they hold to control the airplane, I think, is the transmitter. Probably so. I know you don't want to drop the transmitter. This is not good because it maybe at home has come close to not going into the plastic box correctly, and the box not closed correctly. If it drops the transmitter, well, you don't want to do that. That wouldn't be good. I am scared to death when I take the airplane that I will crush the fuselage or do something, because to me they're very, very delicate. If you get 3 or 4 or occasionally 5, and that's sometimes a mistake, airplanes down there in the air, somebody's not going to be able to land the same condition that they took off in. It is fun to get up and know that Frank's going to come and see the guys and take advantage of the fact these things do work. You know, if the motor dropped out last week, you have to rebuild it. If you crashed with someone, you've got to do your repairs. And I think when he comes in, he's always a little anxious that did he do it right? So is it going to fly again? Or is Bob Gill going to have to make some adjustments to make sure he can handle it right? Getting everything here in one piece is good. No quick stops in the car, the things slam forward. No, you want to get them in here carefully in one piece. I like Wednesday mornings, especially when it's a little overcast and you don't have to drive east into the sun, directly into the sun. That's a good start for a Wednesday morning. Yeah. Yeah, bring Frank over to his aviation ministry, they call it, which is really a social club for a few of his friends that just happen to bring their airplanes to fly. And that makes it Wednesday morning.
And there we go, folks. There it is. The audience in the... I like you can actually program these to make different sounds, so that's what's kind of fun with it. I really like that documentary. I thought it was great. What I love about your style is sometimes people try to like press a lot of information into a video, but like I like how with the shots, like especially the shots where the camera's found the plane going around the gymnasium, you kind of let it breathe, let you know, give time, let people soak in the experience of like of the flight. And then also I just love the narration with the woman that you can tell that she wasn't a narrator, but she was a lady that could tell a good story. What was your thoughts on it?
Yeah, thank you. I like to put air in a film.
Yeah.
I think when we're watching a really good movie, they're going to bring up this climax or bring up this top part of the scene, and then they're going to hit you with it, and then you're going to have to sit there stunned for a short time, and they should let you be stunned. They should give it time and give it air so you can experience the film. So I wanted to provide those areas of kind of amazement, or kind of those areas of like wow, or those areas when what she's talking about, like I don't know what these things are called, but yet I'm trying to understand for the sake of my husband because I love him. Those are all kind of airy times that I wanted to put in there.
Mm-hmm.
The film started out with the narrator, started out with Mary Kay, and she's got an incredible story, and I wanted to tell it. So after I got permission, I did an interview. I think it was like a half-hour interview, and then I made my initial rough cut just with her her story as a backbone.
Mm-hmm.
And so my friends and family will tell you, "Oh, I love this video, Dan, but when are you going to replace the black chunks with,
with visuals
stuff?"
Right.
And so eventually I replaced those black areas in the video where nothing was, and no sound, and no Mary Kay talking, and not even any music. And I replaced those areas with these visuals that tell the story and kind of move us along. So I went and shot a little video. This one, by the way, they fly at Concordia Lutheran Church. I'll just put a little bite in here. They fly at Concordia Lutheran Church, the school there, and they fly in this gymnasium from 6:30 in the morning till 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning every Wednesday morning throughout the year. These older guys like Frank, they've been flying there for 15 years now. And so what I did is I went there a couple times, like first with the camera, kind of sat down, and then then a little bit of shooting. And then I came back the next week and I interviewed Mary Kay, and then I shot more video the next week, and then I shot more video the next week. And my brother came out with a quadcopter, chased them around. And I really wanted to give the sense of, this is Mary's story, but this is also the story of Frank told by Mary. But then this is also like, how do you tell the story of these planes? We watch these planes and they have their life of their own. And so I wanted to give these planes the life, their own character. And so in order to do that, we had to be up flying with them in a way that you felt like you were flying with them.
Yeah, I did feel I felt, that's how I felt when I was watching it.
That was kind of a roundabout way. I hopefully answered your question.
Yes, yeah. So I'm trying.
Yeah,
I guess they do it inside the gymnasium because one, it's a controlled environment with there's no wind, no rain, so they can always make sure that no matter what the weather is,
unless they have air conditioning on, then there's turbulence.
Oh, right.
They turn the air conditioning off. Actually, it's programmed now to turn off when they get in there, and then turn on. I think the agreement now is 8:30 in the morning.
And it seems like there's a lot of crashes, but I think from my thought that these guys probably like to go back and be pit crew and fix the planes. It seems like it's almost like it's fun for them to even build the planes back after crashing them.
Mary, one of the parts I cut out in the interview because there's so much incredible story that Mary had, but yet, we don't have a half hour or 20 minutes to watch this. We have like our daily lives kind of time, which is like, 2 to 7 minutes, maybe 2 to 10. So one of the things that she was saying is that they spend half their time just sitting around talking.
Right.
Or they spend a lot of time outside of that, like pit crew, like you're talking about, like that was Frank's plane, and Frank's plane was involved in that crash, and I didn't want to put it in there. I wanted you to see as a person experiencing the film that, wow, that was Frank's plane, and he's going to have to fix it, and they're going to work together, and hopefully he'll have it ready for the next race day,
right.
The next flying day.
That's a probably expensive hobby for those guys, I would think.
These are kind of planes you can just buy off the shelf. You can go to a hobby shop and you can buy these small planes, these micro park flyers, and then the expensive part is when you crash it, but yet these guys are just gluing them back together.
Right. That's cool. I like the documentary. And you shot this on your Z cam, so I want to we can bring that out.
Yeah.
How long have you had this camera and kind of talk?
Here we go. I'm very experienced with the camera. I'm a highly trained professional, and I've been doing this for a long time. Actually, since the end of October.
Since the end of October.
So about 2 months now.
Okay. Well, here I'm going to do the overhead camera here.
Sure.
and eventually it'll pop up, and then we'll move this laptop back, and you can set the camera up here. And then
kind of looking for the shot.
Yeah, so that's the overhead shot there.
Okay, I'm looking. Can you see it?
Yeah, that's.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So this is the Canon 5D Mark II. I'm just going to show this off right here. The cool thing about the 5D Mark II is it has a full frame image sensor. And so is there zoom in?
I'm going to zoom in with this camera.
Okay. Oh, cool.
So this will be this shot here.
So here we go. His crew is working on this right now. They've been sitting around drinking coffee for a while. So yeah, they were off.
So I think that's, here we go.
So here's the Canon 5D Mark II. It's a digital SLR. This is like circa 2010, I think it is. The nice thing about it, the camera for me, is it has a full frame image sensor. So you can kind of see a frame in there. But it has a really large image sensor. So for a photojournalist to have a really large image sensor, that does a couple things. First of all, you have higher ISO capability, lower light capability, and higher detail. And then you can use lenses like this one. This is the 35-2. You can use it 1-to-1 on the camera. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to get a camera like this, which I could use much easier, exchange lenses on it. And then the biggest thing for me is a better image sensor with raw video and external sound capability. The video with Mary, this camera was shot, most of it was shot with this camera. And then, holy cow. Right? You want to do that again and get a better reaction? Hold on a second, Matt. Ready? Okay.
Ready?
Here it comes.
And boom. Wow. That thing's a tank. That thing is built like a tank. So
this is let me see. A lot of people talk about the RED cameras in Hollywood and talk about the RED cameras for filmmakers. This is a very inexpensive RED camera. I'll just talk about money for just one moment. You can buy a RED camera for, I think it's like $20,000 to $50,000. I think that's what they're going for nowadays. And you can find like the first RED for like $2,000. I probably wouldn't recommend using it, but if you want a camera to learn on, then so be it. So this is a 4K cinema camera for $1,500. Kind of just dropped the bomb right there. The middle part. So
the middle part's $1,500.
The middle part is $1,500, and then you add a bunch of like.
Right, you're not going to get this whole camera for $1,500. So
you add the fishbowl to it, and then you add the filters and the lights and the ambiance, and by that point, it's not, you bought more than a fish at that point. You got a free goldfish. Congratulations. So there's a couple different parts to this camera, and let me try to see what I can see. So there's the middle part of it right here.
Let's see if we get.
Wow. I'm going to kind of take it apart here if I can.
We can.
See, that's the wireless mic, and I'll just kind of strip it down for us all here. This is a preamp, so it gives us a better sound.
Let me see if
across here.
There, maybe it's...
Okay, there we go. See it right there.
Yeah.
So this is a preamp. It goes to the sound system right here. So there's an inbound sound and then outbound sound for here. So I'll take this off right here if I can. I'm still learning how to use some of this here. So we're going to pop this off the rail, and you can kind of see the body of the camera. So right now, we should still be able to see the body of the camera. So this is called a box camera. So it's kind of like a medium format camera for film, but this right here, just this little part, is kind of like the 5D Mark II without a big screen on it.
What kind of cards is it recording to? Is it the new type of cards that the Canon has?
So there's a slot here for a CFast card. A CFast card is like a compact flash card with privileges. So it's just bigger and faster. But a lot of filmmakers like myself, we're not recording directly to the CFast because, number one, well, CFast are expensive. That's kind of the biggest thing.
Yeah, they're what, $200-$300 just for a card.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put this bad boy back on.
So you're recording to the Ninja, which is that...
Actually, we'll just leave that off. Yeah, so in this case, we're recording to a Ninja. This is a Ninja 5. The Ninja 5 will do raw 6K.
Oh, wow.
Which, eventually, maybe someday. So right now, see you have this right here. So you have the screen on top, and these are different parts of the camera. You've got the big mic right here with the dead cat on it. And then if we take this off here, slowly stripping the camera down.
So is it going
nice.
out So it's going out HDMI into the Ninja, right? Or what? How is it? What's going out of the camera into the monitor?
So HDMI 2.0 carries signal as well as data.
Okay.
It's basically an Ethernet cable for the camera. So you're able to transfer raw video, raw 4K, cinema 4K from the camera directly to this monitor, which has a little hard drive on the front. There we go.
Right there.
Here, I can move this to the side a little bit so people
okay.
can see. Me too. So you have the screen here, and then you have this card, which is it's basically an SSD. It's a modified SSD for this. So that's that part right there. And then you have the lens on the front, and then I have a follow focus here, so you can turn this so it doesn't make any sound whatsoever when you're doing this. This camera right here has a not a micro four thirds, but a 4/3 sensor, and so it's not full frame, but you can get an adapter like I have right here to throw the light out and make it full
RF
frame.
or EF lenses. What's going on?
This is an EF body, so it has an EF adapter on it, so I'm able to use the Canon 35-2 that I had on the 5D Mark II. I'm able to use that on here if I really want to, but the problem with autofocus is that it's a short throw. The autofocus system is so fast because it's a short throw. What filmmakers like is we like things to be in focus, but we'd like a lot of forgiveness when we get there or get towards there. And so if you look at this lens right here, I'm just going to kind of move this around. You can see how long of a focus throw that is compared to an autofocus lens. So that's almost 360 degrees of turn.
So that's going to give you more of a focal range. Okay.
It's going to be easier to focus, more of a focus range. You're going to have a nicer depth of field, or a lot of people call it as a bokeh or thrown out in the background. So that's what we do right here. And then this is the big, huge battery. It's way too big for this camera, but it'll run the camera for about 4 to 6 hours.
That's good. Yeah.
But
my
in this case,
camera,
we're running the sound, the monitor, and the camera with the battery.
You're with the DTAP, right? You're all okay. Gotcha. Wow. And so you shot the last video we just watched on this, and so you got in October. So you're looking to do what's some projects that you'd like itching to do?
Well, it's funny you should ask. One of the main reasons I bought this camera, or we got into this camera, is that I'm going to kind of slowly put it together. We got in this camera because I have about a dozen commercial projects that are lined up for 2022.
Okay.
I didn't want to walk in with a camcorder. I'm going to get this out of the way. It's probably fine right over here. Is that in frame, or you want to keep it up there?
Just keep it there.
Okay.
It would scare me to keep it too close to the edge of the table. So
right.
So
I have about a dozen projects lined up for 2022. I'll make sure I'm not.
Well, it does block your face here.
I'll just move over here.
Okay.
And that's cool. You can kind of see me too.
Yeah.
So I have about a dozen projects, commercial projects lined up for 2022 that I'm really excited about. They're for a healthcare nonprofit here in Missouri. And then in addition to that, I was asked by a new friend of mine to work on a screenplay. So I'll be working on a short film here in spring.
Oh, okay. What's the story about?
I'd rather not say right now. I mean, maybe, Matt, you can have me back in. And
I would love to have you back in.
My film partner and I can talk about the project, but we haven't even done a table read yet. So it's just so fresh.
Okay. You know, if you wanted to do a table read, it'd be kind of a neat podcast to do.
It'd be kind of cool.
That way you get the audience to talk about. I was thinking about doing a table read for a script I did.
Oh, cool.
And so just see what the people think out there, and then have them all read out the table here.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
So I wrote and part of with the camera, I'm still learning how to shoot a scene. I can do an interview, I can shoot a scene, but I don't have a lot of experience working with actors per se. I have a lot of experience working with people in front of camera, but not really actors. And so by writing my own scene, I'm able to work as the writer, work as the producer, work as the director, the DP, the actor, the script director, and then kind of work on all those. So you end up writing it yourself, and then you end up acting it yourself, and then you end up blocking where the camera is going and doing camera blocking. And then after you do camera blocking, you're looking at where I'm going to put lights. And it's not an easy thing. It's not simple. I mean, we cruise through Netflix every day, and we see something we like and we watch about 10 minutes of it or an hour of it, and then we're like, okay, let's on to the next thing. Whereas, in reality, some of these projects have taken, a short project will take a year.
Oh,
a longer
right.
project will take like a decade because there's writing and changes and stuff.
Yeah, people don't realize that, like, the work it takes probably just to even start like a film, like the pre-production. Like sometimes it's 2-3 years to get all that stuff together. Yeah. So a good film, it's all about planning too. So it's all about getting the right people, the right locations, and you got to do it all at the same time and schedule everything perfectly because you only got so much you can film and
Right.
because of budgeting. Yeah.
So I find myself in this weird place where I'm doing what I wanted to do when I was graduating from high school. But, several years after that, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. Actually, I was talking to my father the other day about this, and I said, it's amazing how long it takes for us to get the guts to do what we want to do.
Yeah. Well, I know the feeling because it took me a long time too because you're doing – I was the same boat you were, like, when I was 25, I was starting making, like, corporate videos and stuff, and I was just getting cool equipment, building neat things, but I was not really doing anything that I was, like, passionate about. I mean, I was, so it takes a while to get to that point.
Right.
Especially living here in Missouri.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I talking to an actor, and he also does a bit of writing, and he had reached out to the St. Louis film community and said, hey, I've got a project. And he didn't get a lot of bites. I think what he heard was that there were, there was like the cult of this school and the cult of this university and the cult of this university. And when he came in and he said, I'm from LA, they were like, well, we don't know you. When in reality, like my gut says, if I don't know you, that means we just haven't worked together yet.
Right.
There's things that you can bring to the table that I haven't found yet. You'll find answers that I haven't even gotten to the question yet. And so collaborating with someone from the outside or collaborating really with anyone who's doing this in their basement, working on their own kiln. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Right. St. Louis is very, there's little niches with the film community. I'm trying to break that down. I'm trying to get all the different filmmakers, but there's certain types of, you got the Webster University people, and you got the.
Oh, so you're gonna name names here? Name universities.
You got yeah. So then you got the other group, and you got the people like me that
Right.
That's kind of like on the outside kind of thing. But
so here's this weird. Who's this weird kid from the outside? His name is Wes. Oh yeah, he's Wes Anderson. He's not from St. Louis. Don't worry about him.
Right.
Who's that other guy over there? He sounds like he's from New York. Yeah, he's Martin Scorsese. You don't need to work with him.
Right. But there are some amazing. I've had a few on this podcast. Amazing filmmakers in St. Louis and people doing some amazing things. So it's
cool.
I believe I think one of these in the next 10 years or next 5 years, a big film is going to come out of St. Louis that's made in St. Louis. I can see it happening.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic because we sit here as the last season of Ozark, I think, is being filmed.
Yeah,
and so Ozark was shot in Atlanta.
Right, it wasn't even shot, and even when they do those drone shots, that's not even the lake of Ozarks.
Right.
I mean, why can't they just at least get the real shots of the lake? Yeah.
So I think Up in the Air, that was shot here. I mean, that's kind of the big thing that's happened here within the last decade, I think.
And that was 2008, 2009. That was not even. Yeah. It's been 10 years since a big film like that's come through here.
But you have the infrastructure. I mean, if someone would come in and say, "Hey, we want to make a film," hopefully by that point I'll be on your list, and then we have all the resources we need. We just need, I think, proper tax incentives to get it to happen, and kind of the acting infrastructure, which we kind of have a little bit of. And the filmmaking infrastructure, which we have, but we send a lot of those people to LA because there's not as much production here.
Right.
You've got Bad Dog down the street, down the street, it's this way, Bad Dog. And so if you wanted to rent anything necessary to produce a full motion picture,
right, and then
we have it.
I like Bad Dog, no offense to Bad Dog, but that's the only place though. I mean, I don't know another place that rents cameers out.
Other than you have to go to a coast or something.
With that high end, so Bad Dog's the only one. Yeah. So, and it's expensive. I mean, just to rent equipment, it's expensive.
Well, right. In the movie like The Sting, you could probably go to Bad Dog and say, so, this is the list of criminals in town. This is the list of grifters in town, or the filmmakers in town, or the grips and the ADs you need and the actors you need. Here's the short list. And so I'm sure they probably have that there and the connections. And
Right.
I really like what you're doing here with the podcast. I didn't say thank you yet for having me on, but you know, it sounds like you have just everyone on here, but yet hopefully not. But at the same time, I think this is nexus, this glue that connects a lot of people, to show that this is what Dan Gill's doing in his basement, and this is what Matt's doing in his basement. Right. And if we get together a lot of these different parts with a script and with financial backing, I mean, this camera right here could make a motion picture, and a lot of us, a small team of us, could get together and make a motion picture. So maybe this afternoon, after I'm done watching this, hopefully after I'm done watching this, I'll go shop for people and, you know, try to find projects to work on or learning projects.
Yeah,
and then,
well, I mean, we try to do events and have people come out, and then, like you said, it's been a blessing because I've had 300 of these podcasts this year, and so I've had people from the music, I've different actors, I've had other filmmakers. So, like, if people are looking for people, they always send me a message, hey, I need an actor, or I need a song, or I need a music video director. Who do you know? And so I've been referring people, and you know, I'm not wanting money for. I'm trying to bring St. Louis together and build like a Atlanta or Austin, Texas here. So
yeah, I think there's a lot of people nowadays with the 5D Mark II, and then nowadays with the Blackmagic Pocket camera becoming very, very affordable, and these cameras, quite frankly, becoming very affordable. That the person that graduates from film school or decides later in life that they want to make film can do that. I think a lot of people that are at home, I use the term like kiln, you know, we're in your basement, we're painting, and we're working on our own art. And then when we go out and show our art, then we interact with more people. I think there's a lot of people like me that are small filmmakers, we're independent and doing your own thing. I mean, you're the DP, you're the director, you're the producer.
yeah,
You're all of these things. You're the editor, you're the grip, you're working lights, you're working sound. And for me to give up all those except for one role would be really nice.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the DP role or if it's an editor role or if it's a director role, but it'd be nice to work with other people and bring them into that team.
that'd be awesome. So I guess we hit our hour.
We hit our hour. Very good.
We did. You did.
Do I get a prize?
You do. You get.
Looks like you have cookies over there.
I got cookies. My neighbor brought over cookies, and you're welcome to have a cookie.
Oh, very good.
So that's your prize.
This is the hour bonus. Thank you.
I had a couple of them, so they are edible. They are good. So I did eat a couple of the cookies already. But just for the audience out there,
sure.
How can they get a hold of you? So if they
the best place to get a hold of me right now is to go to my website, dangillphotos.com, and just click the contact link.
Okay.
But quite frankly, it's hard to find me on YouTube. But if you also go to Facebook and look up Dan Gill Photos on Facebook, just send me a message.
I think we have it on.
You know, hey Dan, I saw your camera. I have one. I'm working out in the shop and I'm lost. Where'd you get the beach tech? You know, where'd you get the monitor? How did you come up with this whole thing? Let's go shoot something. You know, I wrote a script. Let's shoot a scene. I want to kind of put something together. Or heaven forbid, I have a motion picture idea and we've got it funded already and let's go out and make a movie. I mean, any of those things.
I'm going to click to the.
So Dan Gill Photos on Facebook is probably the easiest way, or just dangillphotos.com.
It takes a second to kick in.
Sure.
The switcher over here, it should. Come on. It should pull up. Of course not.
Or you can just, at home, if you're watching your TV, you can just use your imagination right now.
Yes. So,
wow, that's a beautiful page. See?
that's a dark.
I'm waiting for it
that's
to,
a dark.
I'm waiting for it to go into a corner, by the way.
I wonder if I'm. I wonder if I unplugged it.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. Just Dan Gill Photos on Facebook or dangillphotos.com and click contact. And then definitely reach out.
There.
Here we go. Hey,
I'm
what's
determined.
up?
I'm determined.
So here's the Facebook. Please like me, follow me, and send me a message.
You like your page there, just like I did.
Yay.
So definitely
Cool.
So
cool. Little coffee cup, some fun stuff there.
Yeah. Awesome. So
cool.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. It was nice meeting you. We met at the MCA. Shout out to MCA, Mike Ketcher, and Lou, and all those great guys that do the MCA, because I think they're really been doing a great job in the last 20 years bringing people together in the film community. So it's a great organization. So definitely check out the MCA. Yeah, Yeah, I'll let you know what we have going
Okay.
on. I love the, you've seen the studio, so we
Yeah.
do a bunch of fun stuff at the studio, and so there's we're always filming things. So if you ever want to come watch us and see us work,
Yeah, I apologize on the screenplay. I have a scene that I'm working on, and I'd love to bring the scene in and kind of act it out with you if you want.
yeah.
Bring someone in, and we'll do
I don't know what
reading.
the story's about, but I'm quite the actor.
Yeah.
I can show you my demo reel here. I've done some acting.
Oh, very good. Can you play a woman?
Well,
Oh, very good.
I probably could.
Well, that might be something that we might want to like bring someone else in, and we can kind of talk through.
Yeah, we can bring.
And we
if-
can just pretend that they're not here, and we can just have a meeting and talk through the scene. And
Okay.
it'd be kind of cool. So when I watch movies, a lot of times I'll come across a really good film, and I'll click it again. So I'll watch it again with the director and commentary on it. So I think it'd be kind of cool to, see kind of back between my ears and see kind of what it takes and thought process and working through characters and working on a scene.
Yeah, we can do like a workshop at the studio with the we have like a staging film area that people can do work it out. So
Yeah, that'd be cool.
cool. All right, well,
thank you, Matt.
Yeah,
I
thank you
appreciate
so much.
for having
Yeah,
me on.
this was fun. Yeah, this was a great time. So definitely check out the Daily Dirt with Dustin Diggs. We do this every day, and like the Arts United Network on Facebook, and we will see you again tomorrow.